Before I start, I would like to ask you to raise your hands in response to these questions. Have you ever lied in bed at night and inevitably you found yourself replaying a conversation wondering, did I say something wrong? We can do better than that. Okay, then have you ever spent hours going over a decision you've made wondering if you've made the wrong choice? I know I have. It's like your mind becomes a whirlwind of self-doubt, and no matter how hard you try to stop it, the cycle spins endlessly. But here's the thing. What if I told you that overthinking, the very thing we all consider as a roadblock, could actually become a key to success? What if overthinking, when paired with self-awareness, could actually become one of your most potent tools? Let me guess. You're thinking, overthinking isn't a tool, it's a problem, and I get it. Overthinking often feels overwhelming, and we assume that's a ginormous barrier that holds us back from making decisions, taking risks, or moving forward in life. But what if, instead of seeing overthinking as a red flag, we could slightly shift our perspective and use it as a chance for personal growth? That shift in perspective isn't just something I've read about, it's something I've lived. Hi, my name is Jessie, and I'm a Year 8 student at Regents International School. And like many others my age, I faced constant pressure to succeed, meet expectations, to always get things right. And for a long time, that constant pressure showed up as overthinking, quietly, persistently, and overwhelmingly. But through my own journey, I realized that overthinking doesn't always have to hold us back. In fact, it can lead us to somewhere powerful if we know how to listen to it differently. Overthinking isn't the real issue here, it's how we interact with it. The real problem arises when we allow overthinking to be fueled by fear, insecurities, or pressure from external expectations. Expectations to look a certain way, be successful in a specific way, or fit into a mold that society has created. When we feel the weight of these pressures, it's easy to scrutinize every action, every word, thinking if we don't get it right, we'll fail. We're not alone in feeling this way. According to Harvard Health Publishing, 73% of adults aged 25 to 35 have reported that overthinking interferes with their daily lives, often driven by perfectionism or the fear of judgment. And I've been there too. I've spent sleepless hours replaying conversations, wondering if I said something wrong or if I was misunderstood. And with that constant pressure to do well, to look perfect, to meet everyone else's standards, it's easy to see why overthinking takes over. But here's the twist. Instead of seeing overthinking as a negative, we could shift our perspective and use it as a chance for personal growth. When we pause and reflect, we can ask ourselves, is this fear helpful or is it just keeping me stuck? This is where self-awareness comes in. It lets us step back from the mental noise and understand the intentions behind our thoughts. We start to ask, what is this fear really about? Is this fear helpful or is it just keeping me stuck? It's not about stopping the overthinking. It's about recognizing when our thoughts are constructive and when they're just feeding our fears. In fact, mindfulness practices that enhance self-awareness have been found to reduce emotional reactivity by about 40%, according to mindful.org, making it easier for us to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. There's a lyric from Jessie J's song Price Tag that always sticks with me. Just stop for a minute and smile. It's such a simple message, but so powerful. Sometimes we just have to stop, take a deep breath, and simply acknowledge what's going on in our minds. Instead of spiraling to self-doubt, we can pause, reflect, and give ourselves the permission to smile at the realization that we're all allowed to be imperfect. I had a moment like that recently when my sister told me something that really shifted my perspective. Unless you point out your insecurities, nobody will notice. At first, I didn't quite understand what she meant, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that we all have insecurities. The things we obsess over are often invisible to others. Most of the time, our fears are more about how we think people can see us than how they actually do. So, instead of letting my insecurities define me, I started to focus on being me. That's the power of self-awareness. It lets us reframe overthinking. Rather than letting us pull us into doubt, we can use it to check in with ourselves. We start to ask, what is this thought really about? Is this fear helpful or is it just keeping me stuck? Over time, you'll begin to notice that overthinking doesn't have to become a source of stress. It can become a source of insight, an opportunity for growth, and a chance to build stronger self-trust. remember, it's not about stopping the overthinking. It's about how we interact with it. When we combine overthinking with self-awareness, we can transform it from something that holds us back into something that helps us move forward. Thank you.